Come here now, girl.
Hello and welcome to What's Map, your one-stop shop for everything workshop. I'm BonBonB and you're very, very welcome. Right, it's Friday. Friday is the day we hand the reins over to the BonBon buddies over on Patreon and say, hey guys, vote us in a map. And today they've gone with this one. It's a creator that we have yet to review on the channel, but I recognise their name. And they've got at least one map on the request list that's been buzzing around and on loop for the longest of times. It's about time we actually did one of their map. A creator who does like to change their name somewhat. The name that they've got currently isn't my favourite of their batch. I'll talk about that one when we get into the review itself. But before we do any reviewing, I've got time for a daily reminder. That's right, clicking that like button really does support the channel, gets me seen by more people and helps me grow a little bit more every single day. Thank you for your support. Today's map is Cotton Reservoir by The Alien. Now, I don't have a problem with the name The Alien, it just seems a little bit, a bit weak really. There's your start square, looks perfectly playable, doesn't it? We've got the river, that river actually runs downstream away from the lake as well, taking your sewage away. Then you have your terrain heights, which look very much like they're from a terrain party map. Certainly works for me. And then if you've got resources that look a little bit like that, they're not the strongest, but I don't feel that this is a farming map for me. Also a fishing map if you've got Sunset Harbour and want to do some fishing. We have anchovies and salmon, and that looks good also. Off to the workshop. What do we need? Well, no DLC is required today, nor network extensions. We'll be using the Stray Cats Rocky Shore theme mix, along with a few trees there. The realistic 1.2 LUT is in place as well. Now, I say theme mix, there is only one thing in the theme mixer that we have to mix in, and that is the cliff texture from the coastal theme. Now, I'm going to say that for me, it's not even a problem with the map. The one thing I would change on the map, though, is actually the cliff texture. Don't feel it really works. I like the colour, but the actual texturing and the way that it merges in with the terrain in this current theme doesn't work for me personally. We'll get to that in the second half of the show, and I've picked one out of the 150 themes I've got installed on my system. I picked out a cliff texture that I think I prefer. But there on the right hand side there, that's the sort of like the patchwork effect that we're getting from the texture that we got in place at the moment. And I feel it just takes away a little, well, it doesn't even take away, it just doesn't add to the map as much as it probably could do, because the rest of the map looks absolutely glorious, really lovely, slightly undulating map. We've got some intersections. They are all like this, very simply put. We've got some little national roads shooting off in various directions. In fact, if we take a right here, that'll take us down to the start square as well. But the traffic is staying on the highway, which again is very nicely planned and worked, meaning that all of our traffic stays on the 3-lane road rather than going onto a 1-lane road, and that's good work. So credit for that one. A little bit of cliff texture going on. Don't mind when it's properly cliffy, and I like the colour. But yes, I did say we'd get onto that later. So yes, the Alien is, as names go, it's just a little bit bland. Yeah, yes, Alien, from outer space, but yeah, it just doesn't really grab. Now they've got a map on the workshop on the long list at the moment from when they were called Garbage, which I think is actually a stronger name. So, sorry, voice is going. Yeah, so Garbage I feel is stronger, but when they actually released this map, it was under the name A Raccoon Eating Grapes. Now, that for me is a strong name. Now, I know we've got a asset creator, a really good one as well, by the name of Raccoon, and there might have been a little bit of a crossover there, and I don't know. Complete speculation that maybe words were said. You can't use my word. Complete speculation, that one. But I just think a raccoon eating grapes has just a much stronger vibe than the Alien. Just my thoughts anyway. This is Start Square intersection there, and most of your Start Square is in the middle of the screen as you look at it there. There is a little bit of overlap to the other sides of the highway, and that's National Road as well. We will come back and have a look at the start square a bit later on. We'll talk about undulations as well, because it's not a flat map. It's a flattish map. You see, we don't have much in the way of mountains, massive hills or anything like that. But what we do have is just gentle, sweeping mini hills, and can make for an interesting build. And again, if you're into playing on a map which has got some gentle undulations running across it, this is definitely a good shout for you. One thing I do like to see though, when you get a map like this with the hills, and again, all credit for the hills, is when the actual start square, you want it to be slightly flatter. You don't want it to be flat necessarily if you're playing on a hilly map, but you want it to be the place where you can get a foothold, get a grip, start putting down some roads and some buildings, and then work out into the hills. You kind of want the start square on this map is, if anything, slightly, and again, it's not bad, it's slightly hillier than the tiles immediately surrounding it. So that's, for me, that's holding the map back in terms of gameplay just a smite, just a little bit. Now, hilly, very slightly. Railroad is okay. There's a couple of things I really like about it, but the undulations, if you're a true realist, there are going to be one or two spots where it's a little bit steeper than real life would apply. But in terms of gameplay, and in terms of, like, here we've got a little bit of a cutting here, there is good work in place. Got a slight embankment here. Everything's leveled out just a bit. I'm not going to go into great depths about how steep things are in places. I think you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, there are a few areas where it's just a slightly steeper gradient. Not that it really matters too much in Cities Skylines, as long as the eyeball check looks okay. I like the way that the catenaries start and stop literally right up by the road there. And it's actually a slightly better one because it's more of a right angle connection over here. And yeah, I know we've crossed over the same National Road twice. These things do happen in real life, you know. Yeah, there we go. That's I just like the way that the portals actually start and stop right up against the road. It just looked really clean and tidy. Anyway, yes, so we have rail there. There is another rail as well. We're not going to look at all the rail. I'm just going to follow this one to the edge of the map. And then what we'll do is we'll do the intermission, because intermissions. And then we'll talk about shipping routes. Do you think there'll be shipping routes on today's map? Do you? And we'll do water flow, and then we'll talk about just general layout of the map, and also my choice of cliff texture for this map, which I think would be a little bit better than the slightly patchy one that we've got on the left there. Intermission first. Here it comes. See you in a moment.
Do you have trouble building on steep hills? Do your buildings continually glitch into or out of the ground? Then you need the Beginner's Guide to Building on Steep Hills by BonBonB. Click the information button now.
And so back to Cotton Reservoir by the Alien. And we don't have shipping routes, but we do have a couple of air routes that cut across the map. They don't cross over each other. And it'll just mean that you get these lovely pink airliners just jetting across your skies. And I think that's quite a nice little thing. I've got to be honest, I do like the jet models that they use within Cities Skylines as vanilla models, all good. Then we have a water flow. We've got three rivers that lead down into the reservoir. That there is the reservoir. And we have a fourth one that leads out. You can see we have water flow in the reservoir there. The water then leads into this outlet. Now you might go, what? Should it actually be wider? No, because we have a bit of a dam going on. So there we are. Anyway, that leads out there. A little bit of flooding here. Not a big problem for me, but I just sort of mention it because somebody else would if I didn't. Okay, so overall, I just like the aesthetic. It's a really lush environment. Love the little groups and patches of trees, and it's fairly consistent across the map. Quite tidily done. And we got these little these national roads which lead down to little loop around. So this is a potential start location. See how relatively flat this is. I mean, yeah, we do have undulations there, but that is relatively flat, and that's a nice thing. What else have we got in the way of national roads over here? Yeah, we've got another one there. Now, this for me is more of a lookout point. So, yeah, picnic tables and stuff up there. That's all cool. Across the highway over here, we've got potential start locations again over here. This is a little bit more undulatory, but we have got a flattish area around about here. Yep, ish. And we have rail. I did promise you there was more than one rail line as well. And you can see here, it's not super flat, but it's within eyeball tolerance, I would suggest, is probably what we're looking for there. So yeah, we've more than one rail line is the thing. To pull the lines away, let's have a little look at where we could be going. I think let's have a look. Oh yeah, here's that reservoir dam. It's not a dam, but it's just holding it, stopping the water from going into the floodplains there, which I think is a really neat thing. So that's your floodplain. I think that's a very nice, clean bit of detail work. I'm all for that, and I like the way it's all been built in a slightly different texture, which I do believe is a sand texture there. Now, speaking of textures, let's have a look at these cliff textures. So yes, the cliff texture, we're running with Rocky Shore, the Stray Cats Territory Rocky Shore theme. And then we've got the coastal cliff texture in place. Now, I think I prefer, I've gone for a few of them, I think the Waiheke theme mix for the cliffs works slightly better for me. Now, I know the colour is different. Let me get rid of the box there. Now the colour is different, but I think I just prefer it. Again, it's all down to personal preference, and I'm not marking the map down on it. But I thought maybe if I show you that the map with a different texture, it'll just give you a hint as to what I'm talking about. We're losing the patchiness as well with the where the cliffs are just glitching through. Over here, that looks. So we've got a little bit of cliff texture coming through here. When we switch over back to coastal, and it becomes patchy again. See, that's what I'm talking about there. But yeah, it's a personal thing. Other cliff textures are available. I did also like the Caledonian cliff texture. It's kind of got a mossy type effect, and it is kind of very green, lush land. Back to Start Square. This is your not so flat, but definitely playable undulatory Start Square location. So yes, I'd like to see that just a little bit flatter, like it is on the other side of the road, where we have our asset of the day. What is it? It's an asset of the day. It's the JP Commercial Corner Building by Costas 667. Second Japanese building of the week. 2 in the same week. It's almost like it's another Eastern week like we had the other week. But no, it's just a regular week. I just felt that this was one of the standout assets of the week on the workshop. A really good corner unit, and if you're doing a Japanese build or any build, you can always put your own signs on the front of the building if you're really that worried about detailing. And factoids, because factoids. This is possibly the shortest factoid I have ever read. I can't believe I'm actually sat here with the book open thinking I'm going to read this. I could have memorized this. I could have memorized this word for word, and it would have taken me less time than it's taken for me to explain that I could have memorized it word for word. Ready? Rats can't vomit. Rats can't vomit. Today's factoid. And today's asset of the day, the JP Commercial Corner Building by Costas 667. Good work there, Costas. Good work. Keep them coming. Right, let's find ourselves a thumbnail location. Somewhere, I think a bit of a water's front, maybe. I'll keep looking while you head over to the voting page and have a little vote on the map. Is it a 1-star map? Is it a 5-star map? Is it somewhere in between? Your vote really does count. We use it at the end of the month for the Viewer's Choice Top 10. Will this be one of the top 10 maps of the month? Only you can decide. Hit the I button now in the top right hand corner of your screen. It will take you to the voting page where you can vote for free. But what do I think of today's map? Well, there's a good question. Aesthetically, I like it. I like it. Even with the less preferable theme for the cliffs, I think it still scores 4 stars, but it is a lowish 4. So I'm going to go low 4 for aesthetics. Detailing on the whole across the map is good. There's no super outstanding work, but there's nothing really to mark the map down on, and it's somewhere between high 3 and low 4. I think if we had a little bit more, I could go for a 4 star, so I'm going to go for a very high 3 stars. Gameplay potential. I'd like to see a slightly flatter start square. Not flat, but slightly flatter, just to encourage you into building the city on this map. But beyond that, it's quite nice. Just very rural, very farming kind of vibe. I'm gonna go 4 stars. Again, I'm gonna go lowish 4 though. Low 4 stars for Cotton Reservoir by the Alien. Really glad finally got around to reviewing one of the maps from the raccoon who's no longer eating grapes and has become an alien. Because, like I say, I've seen their work and it's about time. Yeah, we've got Dolores on that long list. It's looping, it's on loop. Really hoping that will turn up one day. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, for commenting, for liking and for subscribing. I keep saying join me. Join me tomorrow for another map in the What's Map series. But use the words of the day into the comments for 100 population points just for fun, because you are part of the 20 and out elite. And I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day.